Okay, for everyone who just entered, we'll be starting in 2 minutes. Thank you for coming. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone for attending. We're super excited to tell y'all more about the Energy Innovation Challenge and hopefully answer any questions that you may have about us and our challenge this year. So first off, my name is Tessa and I work on external affairs with the Energy Innovation Challenge. And I'll also be presenting with my colleague, Evan. Evan, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Sure, thanks, Tessa. Hey, everybody, my name's Evan. I work more on the internal side with the Energy Innovation Challenge, so really excited to present today, tell you all about the cool initiatives and prizes that you stand to be a part of through participation in this challenge. Looking forward to your all's questions.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to get started. Excuse me. Next slide, Evan, please. So today we're going to use this time to give you a background of who we are, who AES is, and what we do. And then we're going to jump into the competition details. So we're going to discuss team criteria and requirements, and then we're going to dive into the challenge structure and talk about the competition prompt and prizes. So following our presentation, we're going to be doing a Q&A. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat, but at the end of the presentation, we will have time to answer any questions that you may have. And then following the Q&A, we're going to do breakout rooms by your university. So in these breakout rooms, this is really for you to meet other people who are competing and try and form a team if you haven't already done so. So first, a little bit about AES. So AES is an international energy company. Excuse me. And right now we have about 30 gigawatts in operation with over 5,000 megawatts under construction and in early stage development. So we are made of 9,100 people internationally, globally across 14 countries. And we are really proud to have served over 2.5 million customers so far. And we're also really proud because AES is recognized as an ethical and safe place to work, as well as a great place to work for innovators, which I'll talk about a little bit more on the next slide with our kind of innovative and creative solutions ideas that we have. So a few of the companies that have come to fruition and ideas that have started at AES include things like Atlas, green hydrogen, Fluence. And so if you're wondering what all of these are, I can go into a little bit of detail. So Atlas is a robot to help enhance the speed and safety of solar development. And then green hydrogen is an up and coming renewable energy source that we are working on. And this is all just to say that AES really cares about innovation, and we really want to foster a unique culture of innovation and unique ideas and customer-centric product development. So that's part of the reason why we started the Energy Innovation Challenge. We really are passionate about creating interesting solutions and developing our talent. So now let's jump into the Energy Innovation Challenge, why we are all here today to learn about. So first of all, I like to preface this by saying that anyone can participate in this challenge. You do not have to have a degree or background in energy by any means. All degrees and studies are totally welcome and encouraged. First of all, this is a team challenge, so your team must at least comprise 3 people and a maximum of 5 students. And you all must be enrolled in a graduate degree or equivalent program. So this competition is strictly for graduate students or those with higher education. And next, there is an interdisciplinary requirement. So this is basically your team must have at least 2 different degree programs represented on your team. And we get a lot of questions about this. And basically what this means is that we want to see your team present a diverse set of backgrounds, studies, and solutions. So we really want your team to at least have 2 different degree programs. And this can mean, let's just say, you have a team of 3 political science students. That's fine, as long as 2 of those political science students have different degrees in undergrad. So let's just say one political science student has a degree in Spanish as undergrad, another one has a degree in chemistry as undergrad. You are totally, you totally qualify for this. So keep that in mind. And if you have questions, I'm willing to answer them at the end as well. I know it's not the easiest thing to understand, so. And then lastly, all students must come from the same university. So at the end of this, like I said, we'll be doing breakout rooms by university so you can meet other people and hopefully form some teams. So next, I'll talk about how this is structured. So the Energy Innovation Challenge is really broken up into 3 different phases. The first phase is what we're currently in, and this runs until September 20th. This is called the application period. This is when all the teams should be applying via short online form available on our website. And we're going to drop the link to our website in the chat. Thank you, Evan. And we might go through, or we will go through the application after the Q&A, just to give you an idea of what it looks like. And this application is important. We will be reading through it and scoring it. So please make sure that your answers are comprehensive and represent your team well. And then following the application period, there is round 1. This happens in a 2-week span between September 27th and October 13th. So this is when teams will be selected. So you will receive an email saying either you've been accepted or not to participate in the challenge. Following that, we will release the prompt, and then your teams will have 2 weeks to prepare a 20-minute presentation to a panel of AES judges. And during this time frame, there's going to be 2 other events, company presentation and coffee chats, which we will talk about in later slides. Then finally, we have the final round. This goes from October 16th to October 27th, and this is only for the 5 top scoring teams. So during this time period, the 5 finalists will receive additional criteria to consider in their solution. Then they'll have 10 days to prepare their 25-minute presentation. So next, I'll talk about some key dates relevant to this challenge. Please make sure that you're reading through all of these and that you can attend all of these dates and times, since it is really important. So first, we have the information session that's happening right now. Thanks for attending. We appreciate it. Next, the application closes September 20th. So that is coming on us really, really soon. So please get your applications in as soon as possible. Next, the prompt is going to be released September 27th. And we also have 2 other opportunities. These are voluntary. One is the company presentation, October 2nd at 3 p.m. This is where you'll learn more about AES. And then we have some coffee chats, and this is a one-on-one optional networking event with AES people. And you'll be able to sign up for your own times that work for you. Another really important key date is your team must submit your first round presentations by October 11th at 12 midnight Eastern time. Yeah, please be mindful these are all in Eastern time. So if you live on, the West Coast or not Mid-Atlantic, mountain time that you're adjusting for these. So next we have first round presentations on the 12th and 13th of October. And then after that, the 5 finalists will need to submit their presentation by October 26th at 12 midnight. And then our last event is going to be October 27th. And now I'll pass it on to Evan to talk a little bit more our exciting networking and learning opportunities.
Thanks so much, Tessa. Yeah, so we're really excited for all of these events, but just to highlight a few that'll be of interest to you all as graduate students, hopefully individuals who are interested in entering the energy industry, joining the energy workforce, and participating in the responsible transition to a clean energy future. We have some networking and learning opportunities set up as part of the competition that everyone who participates will gain access to. Aside from a few that are gated to the finalists. But one that we're really interested in sharing with you all are these coffee chats. So we went around AES and we found people from all over the business, people who participate in the finance side of the business, people from our engineering team, people who are working on sort of the leading edge of technologies, people who are running with the utility business. And we got them to devote 30-minute sessions for one-on-one conversations with you all as participants of this challenge. So this is a really amazing opportunity for you all as people early in your career, interested in the energy industry, to speak with individuals who have a little bit more experience and who can give you some interesting tips for how the energy industry is moving, and for you to do some networking with them. Beyond that, we have a company presentation where some senior leadership will be basically talking about the history of AES and how we've grown to be such successful and fast-growing enterprise within the energy industry. And then after that, we're going to have a question and answer session with EIC staff, where you all will be able to sort of bounce your ideas off of us, talk about what you're thinking about as the solution to this prompt that we've developed for this year, and sort of start that pre-vetting process to make sure that your first round presentations are cut and very sharp. We're also going to have a networking breakfast as part of the final day's set of events. And this is going to be a sort of informal 1-hour virtual breakfast with some senior leadership at AES. We'll be sending you all some gift cards so you can grab a virtual snack with some folks from around the company who've been really involved in some very interesting things, and we're looking forward to seeing how you all pick their brain and how they respond to your questions, because they're very engaged people and they look forward to hearing your all solutions. And then after that, there's going to be a keynote presentation where one of the senior leaders from the company that we've selected is going to give a perspective on the prompt and is going to talk about what they view to be the most interesting part of the energy industry and the part that's going to be increasingly challenging going forward. So we're very excited to see you all sign up for these, and stay tuned for some more details, or for the Q&A if you have any questions. To talk about the actual prompt that you all are going to be responding to, as Tessa mentioned, this will be released to participating teams on September 27th, and we're not making it available to teams prior to that date so that everyone starts from the same basic level of research and understanding. But what we can say is that this prompt is not geared towards one specific technology. It's not geared towards one region in the United States, say. It's intended to be very comprehensive. And for that first round presentation, you're really going to be evaluated on the financial feasibility and technical novelty of the solution, but also we put a very high premium on the interdisciplinary nature of the solution. So to the question that we saw in the chat earlier about whether or not international affairs students can participate, as to whether or not you can participate if you don't have an engineering background, as for whether or not an engineering background will particularly benefit your team, what we can say is that we're really asking teams to bring all of their perspectives to bear, and give them equal footing in the way that this prompt is going to be addressed. And we're excited to see that. We're excited to see teams bring disciplines that are not traditionally viewed as part of the energy industry into their solution. And we're looking forward to that Q&A that I mentioned after the company presentation, where you all will start getting to flesh those answers out and ask us some questions about the prompt itself. And should you respond well, you stand to gain some prizes. The first place team is going to receive an interview conversation for each member with some different teams around AES. There's going to be a $10,000 cash prize. It'll be split between all of the team members, as well as a $1,000 donation to the charity of the team's choice. The second place team will also receive interview conversations for every single team member, as well as a $5,000 cash prize to split between the team and another $1,000 donation to a charity of their choice. For all participating teams, and this is something we're very excited about, we're providing some student and higher level memberships to some partner organizations that AES has developed a really good relationship with. You'll see down there, that's the Solar Energy Industries Association, as well as the Edison Electric Institute. And these are two really world-class policy and industry resource groups that have been informing the energy industry and its key players for quite some time now. So we're very excited to say that every single person that participates in this competition is going to receive a membership to these two organizations, and that'll give you access to some really exclusive resources. Additionally, these two groups, as well as the American Clean Power Association, are going to be providing a set of resources that will come to you all once the prompt is released. That'll sort of give a very high level overview as to the challenge that you'll be responding to. So we're really, really excited to make these resources available. We're very excited to provide these incentives for participation and some high quality answers. And we're looking forward to seeing what you all make with all of this information. So just to step back and give a 10,000-foot recap of what the AES Energy Innovation Challenge is all about and what you all stand to gain. We're a company that's committed to the responsible energy transition to a clean energy future. And we're really excited to give you all the opportunity to engage hands-on with that. This is not some kind of sterile challenge question that was, reused or only slightly changed from last year. We met with people all over the company, and we really endeavored to try and create a challenge that is real, one that is a challenge that's being faced by people in the industry right now, and to extend to you all the opportunity to really wrestle with this problem as well. There's going to be some networking opportunities that I mentioned, some abilities, you're going to have the ability to meet with people in the industry who are both specialists in their field and very, very deep into their career in the energy industry and who have a lot of perspective about how the energy industry has changed over time. You're going to be able to gain some invaluable industry experience from them. These are people that have seen a lot of development in the last 2-3 decades in the energy industry and will have a lot of perspective to offer you all in terms of key trends in the industry, where things are going, and how you all, as highly skilled graduate students coming out of the educational area of your lives and coming into the workforce, are going to be able to engage with that transition in a very meaningful way. And then, as I mentioned, there's some incentives to your participation. You're going to get access to some resources that not everyone has access to. You're going to be incentivized with a cash prize and with a donation prize. And we're really, really looking forward to seeing how you interact with these resources that are going to be made available to you. This challenge is a very, very high piece of pride for a lot of people in the company, and we're really excited that so many people are interested in participating. So with that, happy to break for questions. Please drop them in the chat, or if you want, raise your hand and we can just go through them one by one. We'll do about 10 or 15 minutes of Q&A, and then we'll break into those different breakout rooms where you all will be paired up based on your institution. I'm going to leave this slide up just to go through those team details again and so on and so forth, but happy to open the floor to questions. Josh, go ahead.
Yes, so I wanted to ask, like, when we say the timings of the events, will that be in the Eastern time zone, or which time zone will we follow?
Eastern time zone.
Okay, all right, makes sense. Thank you.
No problem. The first round, I see the question in the chat. So the first round is going to be with a panel of judges, but it's going to be virtual. All of the events this year are going to be virtual. Hopefully in the future, we'll be able to coordinate some in-person presentations and events, but all of these will just be meetings that you either are sent a time for presentation or you register for to present in. So the question, can each team offer more than one presentation for more than one idea? I'm not sure if I'm understanding the question correctly, but this prompt is really interdisciplinary. It's very wide ranging. So if your solution requires maybe one or more, 2 or 3 technologies to be used, to be deployed in a particular area or in different areas, then yes, you can absolutely do that. You don't have to pick one technology and define your solution around it. You don't have to pick, one way of doing things. You can specify that you're going to take a multi-pronged approach. For the team name, should it be reflective of the topic we work on or the university name? Be creative. It doesn't have to be. When you answer the application questions, it will ask you what university you're representing. So we will know that. So it doesn't have to be tied to the university. Do you have students from George Washington University too? Yes, there were some other GW students that attended some previous info sessions. We had their emails. We connected people with each other using the registration. When you registered for this webinar, there was a question about whether or not you would be comfortable with us sharing your email that you registered with other students from the same institution. So we did that with them, and we'll go ahead and do that here as well. If all the team members are from the same master's degree program but a different undergraduate degree, will that be okay? Yes, that is correct. So just to repeat that again, so when we say interdisciplinary, what we mean is there needs to be different fields and disciplines represented on your team. If all team members are in the same graduate program, say international affairs or a master's of international affairs, and within that team you have different undergraduate degrees represented, then that still qualifies as being interdisciplinary. Marla, I see the hand.
Yes, thank you. Can you speak at all to the winners from last year and what was interesting to AES about their solution?
I'll kick that to Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what stood out to the judges last year about our winners was the well-rounded approach that they took to the prompt from last year. They were really able to speak to the different areas of the prompt. Like Evan mentioned briefly, like the policy implications, the technical solution. It may not have been a perfect technical solution, but there was clearly effort put into it, into understanding what it would take to make their solution possible. There was clearly effort in well thought out process of financing the solution. So really being able to speak to, even if there wasn't the perfect solution in every regard, there was clearly effort and time and energy spent into, okay, how are we going to finance this? How is this going to impact the area and the different criteria in the prompt? So I think that's what really stood out to them, and would be my advice as like a competitor, really thinking through each of the areas as best you can.
Also, just for reference, and I'm not sure if this will help answering that question in particular, but on the web page for the EIC, where you'll be able to access the application, there is information about the previous year's prompts and the winners who were identified then. So you'll be able to get some information and background on previous years of the challenge there.
And then, so I'll speak to Natalia's question as well. Mistakes to avoid is being narrowly focused on a single component of your solution. I think there's pitfalls to every approach, but developing a highly technical solution, but not considering its finances, that'll stand out to judges because they'll be expecting some component of that, or if there's like an economic component, or if there's a social component, not being able to speak to those would be the pitfall that I would try to avoid, is getting overly focused on one area and letting other areas slip. Now, absolutely, you all have your specialties and you all have your backgrounds, so definitely lean on that. And if you are an engineer, go heavy in technical. If you're in policy, go heavy on that. But be able to speak to everything and show that you've considered the different parts of the prompt. And I did want to just jump back to Walla's question about the presentation and clarify one point, that you will only sign up for one presentation time. You'll have 20 minutes to present, so you can use that time to present as much as you'd like, but each team will sign up for one presentation and that's it. So go as bold as you'd like, but realize that it is only a 20-minute presentation for the first round.
Raj, to see the question, how many teams will qualify for from round 1 to the final presentation round? That's going to be 5. 5 teams. I see a hand.
Yeah,
Pratiksha?
thank you. Yeah, so I just wanted to follow up on the interdisciplinary requirement question, and I wanted to know if different disciplines of engineering would be considered interdisciplinary, or are they just one? So if you have someone from mechanical and then someone from computer, for example, and they're both from engineering, would that be 2 different disciplines?
Yes, that would qualify as different disciplines.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thanks.
Evan, I can answer the question about IUPUI.
Yeah.
So Amy from Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis, you guys are eligible to compete. We recognize the structure of that university is a little bit different. And we've spoken to a lot of faculty there to understand it better. And we understand it's a unique setup. So you guys are absolutely eligible to compete as well.
Joe, if you wouldn't mind answering this other one, since you have more experience with the challenge over the past couple of years, the one about any interesting and groundbreaking discoveries. I mean, my understanding is the presentations from the team last year was really, really cool.
Yep, absolutely. So no groundbreaking discoveries, but really some interesting topics that have made people at AES think differently about some of the problems facing our industry. Some context on every year's prompt. It is a real issue. It is very relevant to our industry, but it is not AES specific. The prompt is not like a case study on an AES project or initiative. It's a very general introduction to one problem that we are trying to tackle. So what kind of growth have we seen over the year in the renewable energy sector? I mean, that is a fantastic question that I think our presenters at the company presentation in the first round would love to answer. But I can give a quick background that this really is the most transformative period in the industry. the momentum to decarbonize energy has certainly picked up and is the prevailing winds at this time. So everyone really is tackling this problem in very different ways, and the innovation in this space, biased because we're working in it, is second to none. It is a very exciting time to be in this industry because the scale of renewable energy and the scale of decarbonizing energy is phenomenal at this point. So I hope that answers your question, but it's why we are able to do the Innovation Challenge, is that every year there's a new pressing issue that people in the industry are grappling with.
Just to really quickly jump through these two other questions in the chat, because we'll be going into the breakout rooms in the next minute or so. Is there a Q&A session after round one? No, the Q&A session is going to be after the company presentation, which is before the first round. So we really encourage you all to attend that presentation and not just be engaged with the speakers, because they have a lot of very interesting things to say, but then after the fact, during that Q&A session, we'll be there to answer your questions and really help sort of flesh out your answers.
Evan, I want to clarify one thing, but
Sure.
after you present, the judges will have questions for you. So as part of the presentation, yes, you'll be judged on answering some questions from our judges. But like Evan mentioned, the only Q&A portion for the prompt is after the company presentation. So just want to make sure we're answering both parts of that, because that's a really good point, Evan, as well.
Yeah, good call. I didn't understand, or maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Suleiman, each team will have one presenter or more. We would like to see each team member involved in the presentation. If there's a scheduling conflict, of course, and a member of the team can't attend, then that's understood. But we would like to see involvement from each team member in the presentations. The final round is also virtual. And then as for whether or not the recording will be shared, did we share the recordings for the previous info sessions?
We're working on it. The recording itself is very large, so we're working on compressing it or putting it into a shareable medium. So the hope is yes, but we are also available up until the application closes. For some reason, we have technical difficulties sharing this. But yes, Jeff, we are hoping to share it.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for your questions. Hopefully we addressed the concerns that you all may have had. Like Thomas said in the chat, if there's nobody from your university in your breakout room, feel free to come back here, and then one of us will go through the actual application and take some more questions. So I'm going to stop sharing now so somebody else can share the application, and then we'll jump into these breakout rooms.
Yeah, I can go ahead and share the application. Okay. So here we go. And the way that you get to this is we dropped a link in the chat. So click on that and you'll be, what's it called? Routed or pushed to this page. Like we said before, the application deadline is very soon. It's in 3 days, September 20th. So make sure you're forming a team ASAP and getting in this application. So there's the general instructions up top. Just a quick note, please make sure that your entire team signs the terms and conditions. That is really important. Everyone participating needs to sign that in order to be eligible for the competition. And then next, it just asks some basic demographic information about each team member, what your current degree is, what your undergraduate degree is, and then whether or not you'd like to be contacted for career opportunities. And then, after you're done filling out every team member's information, there's going to be some short answer questions at the end. So there's only one application per team, so make sure that you either have a Teams call with your teammates or you have a way to communicate all this information so it can be submitted under one application. And then these are some of the application questions. So why is your team interested in participating in this competition? Why is it important for energy developers to partner with local communities? Things like that. So these do involve some thought and some research maybe. So make sure you are allocating a certain amount of time to be able to do this with your team. And then at the end, you're going to upload all the resumes for your team members. And then at the end, you're going to answer the question, how did you hear about the Energy Innovation Challenge? And of course, be sure to fill out the terms and conditions. So that's pretty much it. Does anyone have any questions about the application? Okay, if not, we can go ahead and jump into the breakout rooms. So give us 1 second while we do this, but I know Evan mentioned this, but there's a few individuals who don't have.
I'll finish up your comment. There's a few individuals who didn't have others from your school, so, or you may have just joined and I haven't assigned you yet, so I'll double check that. But yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask them here.